Hey guys, what's going on? John Haddock here from Think About Comics, and today I want to talk about the comics I picked up this past week of December 18th, 2019. And man, was it a week for comics. We had a big stack here. Let's go through them. So I'm going to start off with my independents. I have Wellington from IEW issue 1. Now, this book is about the Duke of Wellington, and it's historical fiction. He basically calls a writer to come meet him at his study, and he's going to retell the true version, of his history. And turns out he's a monster hunter of all things. And we get to see this Victorian-esque Van Helsing kind of mystery horror aspect. Like, you see a couple things going on. A lot of buildup in this book. It gives you a little bit, just enough to make you wonder what's going on, and then hits you with a bombshell in the end. I'm pretty excited for the series. I think it's going to be pretty good. If you didn't pick this up, guys, definitely give it a look. It's something that a lot of people might like, a lot of people might not. If you're into the Monster Hunter thing, that old school steampunk Victorian stuff, definitely check this book out. I think it's going to be a good run. Everything I've gotten from these independents so far have been nothing but gold. Wellington, guys, check it out. My next independent is from Titan Comics. This is Blade Runner 2019, issue 5. If you know me, I'm obsessed with Blade Runner. I think Blade Runner is the best movies of all time. I just love the lore, everything about them. And this book is fantastic. Issue 5 picks up a good bit after issue 4. Issue 4 was its first story arc. They took like a three-month break, and they kicked it off with this issue. This issue takes place in 2026. And what's special about this book is this is the first time we're seeing what life is like on mining colonies. I know in the Blade Runner series we always get hinted about like how off-world colony life is so bad for replicants and why they want to leave. We get to see actually how bad it is and why they're always trying to leave and come back to Earth. In this book we see the Blade Runner protecting its target from the first story arc, and it's during a weird time. If you've seen 2049, you know that there's a period where they did prohibition for replicants, where they stopped making them, and this happens during that time. So the replicants that are alive are allowed to live up to their lifespan until it ends. So we see a lot of people on high end because they know they're going to die. They don't want to work till the end. So these replicants are on the end of, like, they're on edge, and they're willing to do anything to get out. And we see our Blade Runner in kind of a weird position, and this child trying to live life and wants something better than the life on a mining colony. If you like Blade Runner at all, check this book out. This is what Blade Runner is all about. They don't take any liberties to it. They've strictly followed what the canon is of Blade Runner, and it feels like it could be a movie on its own. Fantastic read if you like Blade Runner, I should say. So next, let's go into my Marvel books. I have X-Force issue 4. This book picks up kind of where 3 left off. We see Domino back in action with the team. We see Wolverine and Jean. We get to see what's special in this book is the X-Force actually gets formed at the round table, governing party where they establish the X-Force as like their CIA Black Ops team. And their first mission official mission, I guess, is to go after this group of guys. They've been attacking their pharmaceutical facilities owned by Xavier. Now, they're all, hey, look, we got this. We're mutants. We're the new, I guess, gods. They kind of go in overconfident, and it kind of goes back to bite them. And you see that in the end, and I'm eagerly anticipating 5. I'm really curious to see where they go with this series. I think X-Force and Marauders and X-Men are the best books for them. If you're an X-Men fan and you're not reading this one, guys, check this book out. This is one of the better books that they've got out for the X-Men. Next, you guessed it, Marauders number 4. I really like this book. It picks up right where one kind of had. It has that one feeling where they're going and getting mutants who aren't allowed to leave their nation to go to Krakoa. And this book recaptures that. We get to see Kitty Pryde versus Deathstrike in a really cool fight scene. It highlights Bishop. The cooler thing is we get to see who the villains are going to be in this book. The villains in this book are going to be kind of an anti-Hellfire Club made up of powerful humans with a lot of corporate power and stuff that are willing to blackmail and lie about mutants to get their agendas across. Really good book, guys. Marauders and X-Force have been nonstop. I'm really reading the X-Men book because it's the main one, and I think a lot of stuff is good, that happens in the X-Men book is going to spill into the other books. But yeah, X-Force and Marauders, guys, you got to pick it up. These are great books. My next book is Spider-Man, 36. This wraps up 2099 is in Trouble storyline. Didn't really read the 2099 is in Trouble storyline. I read the first issue, hated it. Didn't read any of the trades. Probably should have picked up that Venom book because it apparently had this first appearance and everyone's like drooling over it. But I'm glad I didn't, because just based on how this wraps it up, sucked. It didn't feel any kind of emotion. It was just like, okay, it's over. Let's move on. And I'm glad they're moving on, because I think Spider-Man has a lot of stories that need to be told. We've been getting hinted stuff all the way back from Hunted, which seems like it happened so long ago. We got hinted on stuff that's going to happen from the Absolute Carnage storyline. They need to move on with the Spider-Man character. I'm tired of all these tie-ins, tying up stuff in his main story. That's why we have all these random spin-off stuff for Spider-Man. Do it there. This is the Spider-Man title. Move on with his character. Just move on. Love Spider-Man, though. So this is the book that I think is the most underrated book that Marvel has. This is a fantastic read. If you're not getting it, you should be. It is Daredevil. This book is fantastic. You are not only getting one storyline, but two. And they're polar opposites. Wilson Fisk is trying to reclaim that Kingpin persona because he needs it to survive, because he realizes that he's going up against people that he, as this mayor, Wilson Fisk, cannot even, be in the same ballpark with. They're just going to steamroll him. He needs that Kingpin persona. It's him trying to reclaim it and realizing that he needs it to survive. On the flip side, you have Daredevil, who is, Matt Murdock. He's done with Daredevil. Wants nothing to do with it. He wants to move on. He wants to realize that he's better than Daredevil and be something else that Hell's Kitchen needs. And Elektra's back in it. And who doesn't love Elektra? Great read, guys. The art is fantastic. The story is top-notch. I would put it up there with Immortal Hulk. It's fantastic. It's just an enjoyable read. Check this out, guys. So next is the DC books. Right up is Batman and Superman number 5. This was a so-so read, guys. A lot of build-up with the Batman Who Laughs and the Batman Who Laughs-esque characters. We get to see Superman, lay down the smackdown on somebody. That was pretty cool. But I just felt like this was another book that's like, hey, look, we got to get the Batman Who Laughs back in the circle. And now that he's, I guess, ready to rock and roll, and he's going to be doing some damage to the DCU, who better than to take him on except World's Finest? If you guys have been reading this book for the whole series, I'd say keep on reading. If you're new to it, I would just wait. Quite frankly, I don't think anything has happened in here that's really worth mentioning except for Supergirl getting turned into the Supergirl Who Laughs, which is kind of cool, but kind of wasn't used right in this issue, in my opinion. But Superman beating the hell out of a lot of people, badass. Love Superman. So, I know I said I wasn't going to do any more Batman books. I know I did. I'm going back on my word because I want to know what's going to happen with the new creative. So I got Batman 85. Let me just say this. I'm not going to harp on it. I'm not going to beat it to death. We all know my feelings on this run. It's the same old stuff. It ends in it ends. I guess that's the best way I can say it. There is hope. There is hope on the horizon. In the epilogue, we get a hint at a Joker storyline, and the Joker looked fantastic. He looks scary. He looks like he's ready to jack shit up. And I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for issue 6. I'm definitely getting issue 6. I think this is what Batman needs. I think we're going to be back to saying, hey, look, this Batman book's legit again. So hopefully that's what we get, guys. Next is Justice League 38. I've loved this read. It's been one of those gems for me. It's had its ups and downs with some issues, but overall I love it. I think this Apex Lex storyline is just really cool. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of cheesy dialogue and the art can be a little iffy, but overall I enjoyed it. I mean, we get to see Hawkgirl and Martian Manhunter's son really get some spotlight. Superman kind of has some cool panels with Lex Luthor. Batman kind of has a cool, he tries to take on Apex Lex. Wonder Woman looks pretty strong in this book. Overall, I enjoyed the read. I cannot wait for, this is a semifinal. I cannot wait for the final. I really want to see how they defeat Perpetua, because we all know it's going to happen, and how they finish Lex once and for all, because in those books we kind of see that Lex kind of isn't completely bad. There's still a part of him that's like, hey, look, I want to do the right thing. I want to be the good guy. So hopefully we get that in the finale. So finally, after 3 years, we got it. Doomsday Clock issue 12, the finale. Great finale. I loved it. Did it take too long? Yes. Should have been shorter? Yes. We can get into that later. I think I already hit on it in another video. This book, Jeff Johns captures what Superman is and how he is the greatest superhero ever. He lays it down in black and white format of, hey, look, the DCU, its pulse, its life force is not Batman. It's not. It's not a kid with issues. It's not a guy who just bought his superpowers, bought a bunch of tech, and goes around and scares people. It's Superman. It's the Man of Steel. It's the last son of Krypton. It's the guy who comes in, saves the day, does all the great stuff, and does it with a smile on his face and inspires other heroes around him. Not only does he inspire other heroes, but he inspires Dr. Manhattan to save the entire universe. And he inspires Dr. Manhattan to the point in which he says, hey, look, the world needs a better version of me, and kind of leaves an imprinted version of him mixed with Superman on his version of Earth, the Watchmen universe. And that whole scene is pretty cool, especially if you look at the mailbox and you realize whose house it was. It's really, really good. Really, really liked how they wrapped this one up. Can't complain on it. I really enjoyed this read. Will I be getting it on trades and collect? I don't think so. I think I'm definitely going to reread all of them again to really soak it in, because 3 years, I think there's some things I might be missing that I definitely want to go back and check. Artwork is fantastic. Some of the best artwork out that DC has done in a minute. Just overall, great finale, in my opinion. I really liked it. They've mapped out how they're going to do DC, in my opinion, for the next 5 years. But the problem with that is, we've seen this before, when they wanted the Dark Knight Returns to be the future. The problem is, when does that become the future? Same thing with Kingdom Come. They were like, hey, look, Kingdom Come is great. This is going to be the future. When do we get to that future? And that book kind of brings those questions up. So, I really enjoyed this read. If you hadn't read it, I'd check it out on trades. Maybe go back on single issues if you can get them cheaper. But yeah, overall, it was a good story. I enjoyed it. Next is a book I cannot say anything bad about. I'm so glad that it's back. Hellblazer issue 2, John Constantine. This book is badass. It is everything that the original Hellblazer storyline was from Vertigo. It's got your swearing, it's got your violence, it's got your sex, it's got your bastard John Constantine sitting there not being the hero, kind of half-assing saving the day, doing what he does best, just getting by barely, and kind of getting forced into saving the day. And even then, he barely saves it. It's kind of like a X-Files victory, where they stopped it, but in that last scene, the monster comes out of the shadows. It's like, no, I'm still here. That's what this book is. Love it. I'm going to continue reading this book until it gets canceled or it finishes out. Check this one out, guys. Fantastic read. So this is a book, when I heard it was going to come out and I saw some of the artwork, I was ecstatic for it. This is my pick of the week. This was the best book I read probably all month. I loved it. This is the Black Label's Wonder Woman Dead Earth. This is a Mad Max, Conan the Barbarian, TVMA take on Wonder Woman. She's fighting these monsters. She's fighting people. It's brutal, and it's what like this barbarian-esque Wonder Woman is. She's still the Greek god person, and she has that in her background. But I just got a lot of like Conan the Barbarian, Red Sonja feel from this book in a really cool way. She wakes up a century later. Earth is destroyed through like some kind of nuclear war. We don't really know what happened. There's these monsters that are running around, and she's fighting them barehanded, ripping them to pieces. Then she fights a bunch of them in front of a bunch of people, becomes the savior of this town, guys. This is a book that if you didn't read, you gotta get this book. This is a must read. I'm not really a big Wonder Woman fan. I'm actually going back and reading the John Byrne run, and I'm kind of enjoying it. Next I'm gonna hit up the George Perez. But this right here, this is something that you need to read. Wonder Woman fan, this is a must. if you like the action, the hardcore stuff, this is a must. This is the best Black Label book that is out right now. Fantastic book. And this is the variant cover. The other one's her with like some like Earth stuff in the background, you know. But I'm telling you guys, you gotta get this book. This is a 10 out of 10 for me. I've read this book twice already, and it's only Thursday. That's how good it is. It's a must read. But that's really it for me, guys. Continue reading comic books. Hit up your local comic book store. Hit up your local comic book store. Gotta support them, guys. You know, local businesses, they got it hard. You know, sometimes, you know, spend that little extra money, you know. Go to the store. Don't buy everything off Amazon and eBay, guys. You're not helping out your local guys. Get a pull list. You know, the more pull list stuff you get, the cheaper it is. A lot of shops offer discounts on this. And always, guys, give a like, give a subscribe. Leave some in the comment section, man. I always get back to guys in the comment section. If there's a book that you saw that I didn't hit up, let me know, because I'm always eager to read something good. I feel like there's so many comics out there that it's so hard to read them all. And if there's a book, hey Haddock, check this book out, I'm definitely gonna go out and hit it up and hit you back up and say, hey, look, loved it, not for me. I'm always eager to read new stuff, guys. And always, guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate all the fans out there. Thank you, guys.